Hi there, this is Dr. Evan Osar with the Institute for Integrative Health and Fitness Education. Welcome to this edition of Integrative Movement Insider. Thanks so much for joining us. Thank you for being part of our community and allowing us to be part of your community and spreading the great word to your clients. And I want to share just a couple things with you and discuss the upcoming 2 Anatomy Geeks series that's starting this Saturday at 9 o'clock a.m. Central Standard Time. It's a 4-module series where Jill, my fellow anatomy geek, and we geek out, and hopefully you'll geek out with us. We discuss the functional anatomy, and this time we're going over the ankle and foot complex. Now, this information is super important, or I should say it's super important to understand functional anatomy as well as biomechanics, how the joints actually function, how muscles function on the joints, and then motor control, how your brain uses a myofascial system to control the ankle and foot complex. Here's why this is so important. I just got an email, like literally just a couple days ago. I actually just read it yesterday. I'm a little bit behind on my emails, and it came from a client, Sandy, who I just did a consultation, online consultation with last week. Now, Sandy had a traumatic injury to her lower extremity where they really thought, like she got hit by a car and dragged by a car, where they thought they were gonna have to literally amputate her ankle and foot, her lower leg, because of the severity of the damage to her lower leg. Well, she had successful surgery, and she's been rehabbing for the last 4 years since the injury happened. She wakes up every single morning with discomfort, every single morning with stiffness, and it limits her ability to work because she works, her job requires her to be on her feet all day long, and she goes to bed every night with, it feels better at the end of the day, I should say through the midday as her ankle gets warmed up, but then it feels worse towards the end of the day as she gets more active. So she sends me an email after we did this online consultation. I showed her some simple things she can do, simple things that we'll share with you in the 2 Anatomy Geeks series, and that we've also been sharing with you here on Facebook Live. You can also catch those posts on our website. Actually, our website's changing, but for right now it's iihfe.com. But she emailed me, and like I said, I just read it yesterday. She said, I just want to thank you so much for the information you shared with me. It's the first time I've had therapy that, 1, didn't hurt, but number 2, more importantly, she was able to stand all day long at her job, come home and cook, and still stand, obviously, while she was cooking, and she didn't have any discomfort in her ankle or foot. Now, she woke up the next day, she's like, it was stiff again, but there's no discomfort in her ankle and foot. She was so happy, she was so encouraged by this information. And one of the things I say sometimes, and my wife gets mad at me, Janice is always like, don't say that. I'm like, it's really not rocket science. What it is education on understanding functional anatomy and biomechanics, and to be able to then assess your client. So in this 2 Anatomy Geeks series, what we do with what Jill and I take you through, Jill takes you through the functional anatomy, what the muscles actually do and the impact they have on the joints, and then I'll take you through how you use that information to assess your client. So one of the things that I had to do with Sandy, and a lot of your clients will come in, this is the foot model, the right foot here, okay? So here you have your inside of your big toe, I should say your big toe side of the foot. The medial longitudinal arch is here. The lateral longitudinal arch is here. So one of the things that happens with somebody like Sandy is she was stuck on the outside of her foot because after the surgery, they had to shorten down some certain things, and then because of the surgery, certain things shortened down. Then she had to go have a surgery where they lengthened her gastroc as well as her posterior tibialis. So even now the muscles are actually over lengthened, but the foot is still very stiff. She's actually stuck on the outside of her foot. Now, 2 of the muscles we're going to cover this week in the first edition of the 2 Anatomy Geeks in the 4-part series. We're going to cover the anterior tibialis and the peroneus longus. So if you think about the anterior tibialis, it comes off the front of your shin bone, the tibia, right? Let me back up a little bit. So right here, and then it runs down to insert into the medial cuneiform. The medial cuneiform is this bone right here. So if you think about, here's your foot joint, here's your talus, so that's talus is part of the ankle joint, here's your navicular bone, here's your first cuneiform. Don't worry about the name of the bone, but just think of where it is. And then there's a first metatarsal here. So the tibialis anterior comes down, or anterior tibialis, however you want to name it, comes down and inserts into the cuneiform and that first metatarsal of the foot. So obviously, it will invert, dorsiflex and invert the foot. Inversion happens at this joint right here. So it's basically where the midfoot rotates on the hindfoot being the heel and the calcaneus and the talus. The midfoot is just in front of that. So now the tibialis anterior can actually invert the foot this direction. Now, my client Sandy, she was actually stuck in inversion, like she was basically walking on the outside of her feet. And that's why it's important to look at the calluses underneath your client's feet, which is oftentimes why it's helpful, to have your clients in bare feet. So you can actually see the callus pads, because that will tell you where your client is bearing the most amount of weight. Obviously, we understand that most of the weight should be underneath the big toe, the small toe, and the heel, that foot tripod. So Sandy, like many of our clients that have had injuries, obviously hers was a pretty unique injury, they're stuck in an inverted position. Now, how do clients compensate for inversion? Is they will do a couple things. One is they will bring, if you're stuck in inversion and you have a rigid foot, what you'll tend to do is bring your knee that direction. I don't know if you can see my knee, but I'll back up here in a moment. They'll bring the knee into a valgus position to get the knee to help bring the foot down. But if you have a rigid foot, it just rolls the foot this direction. Now, clients that have a hypermobile foot, they will just hypermobilize through the foot, and the foot will that arch will sort of collapse. Okay, that was not Sandy. Because there's another muscle on the outside of your ankle that comes off your fibular head. So your fibular head is if you reach up here, right here, here's your fibular head. It attaches from here and also the lateral portion of your fibula, and it runs down here, wraps around the lateral malleolus, and then underneath your foot. Well, remember that tibialis anterior is inserting up here to the cuneiform and the base of the first metatarsal. Well, the peroneus longus is inserting right below that point. Okay, so they're sort of a myofascial sling on top of and below the medial cuneiform, so this bone right here, and that first metatarsal. So tibialis anterior will invert the midfoot, and then peroneus longus will do the exact opposite. It will evert the foot to allow the foot to go that direction, because that's what helps the big toe get down on the floor. So now let me put you down on the floor with me, so I'll show you what that looks like. So let me just angle you down. Hello, Kathy Armstrong. How are you? Good to see you. Armstrong Crouch, I should say. Good to see you, Kathy. So what will happen is these two muscles will work to help stabilize the foot tripod. So tibialis anterior will invert the foot, so bring the foot up that direction, and the peroneus will do the opposite. The peroneus longus specifically will bring the foot down the opposite direction. Now these two muscles, like I said, form a sling, so that when you're doing any kind of squatting or lunging, you're squatting, it's maintaining the balance between the inside and outside of your foot. And remember that for the majority of our existence as human beings, we weren't walking on flat surfaces. Let me back up here just a little bit. We weren't walking on flat surfaces, so if you stepped on a surface that's like this, then the peroneus is eccentrically controlling that motion, and if you stepped on a surface where your foot and ankle rolled in like that, well then the tibialis anterior will be working to bring the foot back up. So these two muscles are helping to control the big toe, small toe, and heel, that foot tripod on the ground, and then you're controlling and aligning and controlling the hip, knee, ankle, and foot above that, so that way these muscles are working as a sling to control the eversion and inversion of the ankle and foot complex, so that way your foot can adequately adapt to the ground. And that's how these muscles work together, because we obviously, to a certain level, we will isolate muscles out, but they never work in isolation, right? They never work in isolation. They work together to allow for the optimal alignment and control of the whatever joint we're talking about. So in this case, the foot and ankle complex. So let me just get you guys straight here. Sorry about that. Hey, Rahul, how are you, my buddy? Hi, Karen, how are you guys? Thank you for joining us here today. So again, in summary, anterior tibialis and the peroneus longus work together to control the foot on the ground. We'll talk about that more specifically this week on Two Anatomy Geeks. There's a link right below this video, or next to this video, wherever you're watching. I guess you're watching on Facebook. So there's a video, or I should say a link to sign up for the course. It's 4 modules, 4 hours of content. Once the content, we record each episode, so if you miss it, no problems. We will send you the recordings, and even if you want to watch it again, we'll send you the recordings. And then after the series is done, so we have to wait till all the series is done, we will apply for CEC. So in 2021, you'll get access to the CECs for this 4-module series. Like I said, it's usually 4 hours. It's slated for 4 hours. But Jill and I get talking, and we answer tons of questions at the end of each module, so that way you get this information and you're really able to apply it to your clients. We have a ton of fun doing this. We love doing this series, and it's one of our most popular series that we do here at IIHFE. So it's a great way to start your introduction into learning anatomy. And more importantly, like I said, it's really about learning how to apply it to your clients, because it's great to know knowledge, right? It's great to know anatomy and biomechanics, but it's even more important, and I should say, it's even greater to understand how to apply it to your clients. Like how does this information apply to my client, like my client Sandy that I just described, being able to allow her to get better mobility of her foot and better control of the inside and outside of her foot, better control between the E inversion and E version of her foot. And again, like I said, Sandy was so excited. Like I couldn't even tell you. It is so great to work with clients like that, and so great to get emails like that, because it's great to know that you're having an impact in your clients' lives. So, and I know you guys get emails just like the email Sandy sent me. So thank you for again, we love being part of your community to allow you to bring this information to your clients. So if you're looking for more information, more in-depth, a deep dive into the ankle and foot complex, and like I said, to really make it applicable to your clients, sign up for the link below. I believe it's $49 for all 4 modules, over 4 hours of content, and then like I said, you get access to the recordings, and then also the ability to get CCs in 2021. So a few of you guys that are on there were part of our first series, and we had great feedback from that. So again, thank you for the feedback. Thank you for being a part of our community, and thank you for all you do for your clients. If there's anything we can do to help you, please reach out, let us know, and keep on getting out there and transforming your clients' lives, because we truly believe, again, like a client like Kathy, struggling with chronic discomfort every single day and lack of mobility, and not being able to do the things she needs to, wants to, and or loves to do. Like she's already, like she literally said to me, like, we're gonna plan, my daughter and I, it's important that we do things together. Like, we're so close, we love each other so much. We want to do a hiking trip next year together. They're already planning that after one session. That's one session of my second session with her today, actually tomorrow. So it's really cool to be able to be trusted with health, right? The 2 things that are most important in people's lives, right, is their own personal health and their family's health. So we'll add that, maybe 3 things, and then their personal finances. So, and again, personal finances, you can always make more money, right? You can always get more stuff. You can't get your health back when you've lost it. And when your health has been taken away from you, if it's been taken away from you or a family member, what it's like, to not be able to do the things you want to or love to do. I mean, that's huge. And for us as health and fitness professionals to be able to transform people's lives and give them back to them, give them that gift back to them, truly, truly amazing. Thank you for allowing us to be part of your community. Thank you for all you do for your community. And if there's anything we can do, please reach out. Let us know. We look forward to seeing you this Saturday, 2 Anatomy Geeks. Dr. Evan Osar with the Institute for Integrative Health and Fitness Education. The link is next to this video. If you have any questions, feel free to leave them next to this video, and we'll get back to your questions and answer your questions. Make it a great day. We'll see you soon at IIHFE and 2 Anatomy Geeks. Take care.